How you guys doing today? Happy Wednesday. So I'm coming at you with episode 5 of Talking Blockchain with Dr. Sean. And so the topic that I wanted to sort of analyze, you know, here today is the topic of blockchain for supply chain. And the topic of blockchain being used really for a back office purpose, supply chains, basically tracking the flow of goods and data between different companies, isn't really as exciting or as buzzy or as high profile as applications like Bitcoin and other crypto assets. But really, at the end of it, and if you all take a higher level view of actually what blockchain is. All that a blockchain is, or a network of blockchains talking to each other, is basically a way in which members of that blockchain network can store and then share data to each other on a continuous basis, and to do so in a encrypted manner. And so if we analyze it through that lens, it actually becomes quite self-evident that blockchain is almost a perfect fit for supply chains, right? And so, great, right? Fine. But then how does this actually impact me on a everyday basis? Well, I'm sure all of us have heard pretty much every single spring, summertime, there's always a headline story or two or three or four or five of health outbreaks as it pertains to our food. Now, obviously, currently right now, we are going through a whole other type of healthcare outbreak right now, right? But life will get back to normal at a certain point, and then all of these other issues that are on the back burner right now are going to be coming back up to the front burner. And a big issue that's been happening almost every single year is there's a piece of food, there's a batch of food, there's a shipment of food or a type of food, be it lettuce, meat, fruit, other types of food that's either bad or it has a contaminant in it that causes people to get sick, right? And it happens all too often, and it causes obviously inconvenience, harm to individuals on a continuous basis. And so, how can a blockchain or the rollout of a blockchain help with this? Well, if you actually think about it, and we go back right to that earlier sort of terminology, the idea of a blockchain is to let those members or those partners that are on that blockchain store and then transmit data to each other. So it actually lets the companies that are doing business in the food area, right? And it's important to also note that anytime that I buy a apple or a hamburger or anything, right? Whether you're vegan, vegetarian, carnivore diet person, is all exactly the same conversation. Anytime that I buy any type of food, vegetable, meat products at a grocery store, at a deli, at the food court, right? All of those things have passed through multiple companies, multiple people have handled these products. Every single piece of food is handled by at least I don't know, maybe four or five, half a dozen companies. And at those companies, that piece of food product can be handled by multiple individuals at different phases during that process. Picking it, washing it, inspecting it, packing it, unpacking it, putting it on the shelf. All of those are sort of touch points. And if a blockchain network can be put into place, and there are some applications out there. I know IBM has their food trust. Walmart is probably the biggest example of a private sector company trying to get their food suppliers onto a blockchain that can help trace back any problems or issues that then pop up in the marketplace, right? Because any issues with food poisoning, food illnesses, all the rest, only unfortunately pop up at the very end of the process as the food is being bought and then brought home to be eaten, right? So then it's really then incumbent, or it's required on the firm that's trying to pinpoint where the actual issue is, to go all the way back through the entire chain, all of those touch points. And so a blockchain by itself can't do that. but a blockchain platform combined with other tracking technologies, Internet of things, and even tools that we already have, RFID chips and all that, can help sort of put together a sort of a mesh or a sort of framework that all of these companies have to be a part of, and then all of those touch points in that mesh are able to be trace back and forth. And so I wanted to just have this quick conversation here today. So blockchain is talked about a lot, crypto is talked about a lot, and I am going to be talking about blockchain and crypto from more of an accounting finance point of view tomorrow and Friday. But I did want to point out that there are a large amount of applications and projects underway for blockchain that aren't always going to be linked to crypto or to markets, accounting, finance, all that. So I'm going to wrap it up there, and have an awesome Wednesday.